This is an oral essay entitled "The Delusional Psychology of Representative Democracy." Democracy, in my view, is what emerges in a community when the members of the community have an aptitude for democracy, when they have an aptitude for acquiring behaviors that lead to democratic processes. There are 5 of them. The first is a tendency to treat people more or less the same, a tendency to be on a first-name basis with people if you have any reason to talk to them or to be around them more than once. That seems to be natural to some people. In political activities, when people meet together in a meeting in which decisions are made and they all have the right to participate, there's a tendency to treat people as equals because each person has a vote, and if you want somebody to vote for something you're in favor of, you treat them like somebody who has an equal vote. So this is natural. Human beings are by nature sociable because we are a species that depends on each other for survival. Vermont, the state of Vermont, was an independent republic from 1776 through 1791, and it became a state. Vermont prohibited slavery, made a provision for free public schools, and eliminated any property requirement for people to participate in politics. This was something very rare in 1776. So the people of Vermont, even after statehood, were socialized in a community in which everybody grew up with the right to participate, could attend town meetings, and make decisions. It turns out that in Vermont, people from blue-collar backgrounds and people from white-collar backgrounds tend to participate in approximately equal numbers, something that's not true in the population in general. Because apparently, whether you're good in speaking before a group or capable of coming up with ideas, this is not something that's associated with a particular level of education. So the people of Vermont essentially acted as though they were equal, and as a result they were treated that way because they made decisions in town meetings. The town meetings in Vermont, once women were enfranchised, included all the people in the community. They made decisions about real things, and anyone who wanted to initiate a proposal could do so. So people had to have a sense that they could take political initiative just as they could start a business, or just as they could select the flavor of ice cream that tastes better to them. This is a matter of personal initiative. And because these towns were small enough to where people could gather together to make decisions, they also had a sense that they could affect the outcome. If you get people in such large numbers participating in politics where they cannot possibly affect the outcome of anything that's meaningful, then there's no particular reason why they should make sensible decisions. There's no particular reason why they should make judgments that could actually render a solution possible. And that's what we have basically in large countries today. People are emotionally attached to symbols, and they get emotionally involved because it's basically an irresponsible process. What they do can't possibly affect the outcome. So why not feel good? In Vermont, you also, at the town level, had to buy a fire engine, buy a snowplow, because the right snowplow and the using community funds to clear areas that were covered with snow was a very important function. They also, a town had a public school, and they made decisions about that. If there were poor people who needed temporary help, what we call today welfare, then the town was responsible for that. So when you went to a town meeting, you were actually deciding something that would affect your life. Today, the issues are so complex, and the emotions run so deep, and the lack of interest so profound that there's no predictability at all as to how a decision would be made. The third element, the third aptitude, is a willingness not to exercise power through government if you're interfering in somebody else's business. I mean, it's not one person's business to decide what flavor ice cream another person ought to be eating, if the end result is supposed to be the maximum pleasure for the individual. So if you have an individualistic orientation to life, you really won't want to tell people what they should be eating. Or if you do, they know that you're just expressing a preference, and you would not want to enforce it. So, what are the kinds of things that people with aptitudes for democracy would want? Things that arise from interdependence. You can't have automobiles if you don't have traffic control, because people would kill each other. And in a nation where we have hundreds of millions of weapons in private hands, the highways would be littered with bodies. So there's essentially a willingness to let government, where each person participates equally, decide about matters that affect most of the people, and leave people alone in matters that don't affect others. The fourth element of aptitude is the orientation to utilitarian outcomes, practical outcomes, and comprehensive solutions. One of the problems in contemporary United States is that we have a winner-take-all system. And the winner-take-all system can be seen in something like the free trade agreement with Canada and Mexico. Some people are hurt by this, and the people who are for the free trade deny this. They're lying. And the people who say that basically this only does damage are also lying, or they're misinformed. But that's all they can do, because it's winner take all. There's no effort to do anything for the losers. Okay. This is the conclusion of part one, and we'll go to part two.